Welcome to my channel Karma Romance Stories. Please like, subscribe for more videos.
I gave 31 years to one manufacturing company. I knew every supplier, every audit, every certification, every hidden risk that could destroy the business overnight. Then the owner's son returned from business school and announced a digital transformation. He smiled and said the future belonged to younger talent. I quietly placed my employee badge on the conference table and walked away. 1 week later, an ISO auditor asked a single question: "Where are your supplier qualification records?" The silence that followed changed everything. My name is David. I started working for the company when I was 24 years old. We were a small family-owned manufacturer supplying precision parts to medical equipment companies and defense contractors. Back then we had fewer than 50 employees. Every customer expected perfection because one mistake could cost millions of dollars or even put lives at risk. During my first years I learned every process from the ground up. I worked in receiving inspection. I learned quality control. Managed supplier approvals. I created corrective action reports. I handled customer complaints. Every year I studied the newest ISO requirements because I believed quality was not just paperwork. It was trust. The company grew into a business with hundreds of employees. We expanded into international markets. Customers trusted us because we passed every audit with almost no findings. Our reputation became our greatest asset. People often asked why our audits always went so smoothly. The answer was simple: preparation. Every supplier had qualification records. Every material certificate was traceable. Every approval was documented. Every process had evidence behind it. No software could replace experience overnight. When the founders retired, their son Ryan became executive director. He had an impressive degree and spoke confidently about innovation. At his first company meeting, he introduced colorful slides filled with modern business language. He talked about digital transformation, artificial intelligence, automation, lean restructuring, young leadership. Everyone applauded. I did too because I believed change could be good. A month later, Ryan announced another meeting. He stood in front of everyone and smiled. "We are implementing digital transformation and leveraging younger talent." Then he looked directly at me. "Some people have valuable experience, but we cannot let old habits slow down innovation." The room became quiet. I had never been embarrassed in front of my coworkers before. Ryan explained that my department would be reorganized. Most documentation would become automated. Several experienced employees would be replaced with younger graduates. He believed software could manage supplier qualifications more efficiently than experienced professionals. After the meeting, he asked me to train my replacement. She was 26 years old. She was intelligent and hardworking but had never experienced a real certification audit. I trained her respectfully because she deserved every chance to succeed. For 4 weeks I explained supplier risk analysis, approved vendor lists, corrective actions, annual performance reviews, material traceability, regulatory requirements. She took notes carefully. Ryan interrupted several sessions saying we were wasting time. "Everything will be stored digitally now. We do not need all these old files." Those words stayed in my mind. On my final day, Ryan shook my hand. He thanked me for my years of service. Then he said something I will never forget: "Experience is valuable, but technology always wins." I smiled. I placed my company badge on the conference table. I wished everyone success. Then I walked out without looking back. For the first time in 31 years, I drove home during daylight. It felt strange. The following week, one started consulting for another manufacturer. They appreciated my experience immediately. 3 days later, my former coworker called me. She sounded nervous. "David, the ISO surveillance audit starts tomorrow. Ryan says everything is under control." I wished her luck. The next afternoon, my phone rang again. This time she was almost crying. The auditor asked for supplier qualification records covering the last 5 years. The digital system contained only recent uploads. Thousands of historical approvals had never been migrated correctly. Ryan believed they were unnecessary. The auditor requested evidence showing suppliers remained qualified. Nobody could produce complete documentation. Without those records, the company could not prove compliance. The meeting became tense. Managers searched shared drives, old computers, storage rooms. Nothing was organized. Because I had personally maintained those records for decades, I knew exactly where everything belonged. But after I left, several cabinets had been emptied. Boxes were discarded. Paper records were shredded because they were considered outdated. The auditor remained calm. He simply documented every missing record. One finding became 5. 5 became 12. The audit stopped early because too many critical issues required immediate action. Customers were informed. Corrective action deadlines were issued. Production schedules became uncertain. Several major clients postponed new orders until compliance could be verified. Within 2 weeks, Ryan called me. He sounded completely different. "David, would you consider consulting for us temporarily? We need help rebuilding our supplier qualification program." I remained respectful. I agreed to meet. When I entered the conference room, everyone stood up. The same managers who watched quietly during my final meeting now welcomed me warmly. Ryan apologized. He admitted he underestimated the importance of institutional knowledge. He thought software could replace judgment. He believed documentation created itself. Now he understood every system depends on people who understand why those records exist. I accepted a short consulting contract, not because I wanted revenge, because the employees still working there deserved support. For 3 months we rebuilt supplier files, recovered archived records, verified approvals, conducted supplier reviews, updated procedures, prepared corrective actions. The follow-up audit arrived. This time every requested document was available. Every supplier qualification was complete. Every corrective action showed evidence. The auditor smiled. He congratulated the company for remarkable improvement. Before leaving, he quietly told Ryan something I later heard from another manager. "Technology improves good systems. It does not replace experienced people who build them." Ryan thanked me publicly during the final meeting. He admitted leadership means listening before changing processes. He rehired several experienced employees. Young graduates continued joining the company. But now every new employee learned it directly from experienced mentors. Innovation and experience finally worked together. Years later, people still asked why I returned after being humiliated. The answer was simple. Real professionals protect standards. They do not protect their pride. Companies succeed when knowledge is respected, not when experience is dismissed. The greatest lesson was never about winning an argument. It was about understanding that every successful business stands on invisible work performed by people who rarely receive applause, until the day they are gone. One sentence changed everything. Where are your supplier qualification records? The answer was not hidden inside expensive software or modern presentations. It was hidden inside decades of knowledge that someone believed had no value. Never underestimate quiet professionals. They often hold together the foundation everyone else stands on.